Retro Road Test, Austin Maestro Van vs Ford Escort Van. Road Test, Austin Maestro Van vs Ford Escort Van. When it comes to compact commercial vehicles of the 1980s and 1990s, two names stand out in the British market, the Austin Maestro van and the Ford Escort van. Both were popular choices for small businesses, delivery drivers, and tradespeople needing a practical yet economical workhorse. But which of these two is the better vehicle? To find out, we put them through a rigorous road test, assessing performance, practicality, comfort, and overall usability. Design and styling. From the outset, neither the Austin Maestro van nor the Ford Escort van was designed to turn heads. Instead, they prioritized functionality. The Maestro van, derived from the Maestro hatchback, featured a boxy but practical shape with a long, flat roofline extending over a sizable load area. Meanwhile, the Escort van, based on the Escort estate, had a more rounded design, retaining much of the passenger car's aesthetic appeal. In terms of build quality, both vans reflected their respective manufacturers' strengths and weaknesses. The Maestro's panel fit was generally decent, but rust-proofing was a common concern, an issue shared with the Escort. Ford's van, however, appeared to have slightly better paint quality and panel alignment. Performance and handling. Engine options and power delivery. Both vans were offered with a range of petrol and diesel engines to suit different needs. The Maestro van came with either a 1.3-litre or 1.6-litre petrol engine, alongside a frugal 2.0-litre Perkins diesel. The diesel was the most common choice among fleet buyers, offering decent torque and exceptional fuel economy, albeit with a fair bit of noise. The Escort van, on the other hand, provided a 1.3-litre and 1.6-litre petrol unit as well, but its diesel option was a 1.8-litre Endura unit. This engine was smoother and quieter than the Perkins in the Maestro, though slightly down on torque. It did, however, have a reputation for better longevity and reliability. On the road, both vans felt relatively nippy when unladen, but with a full load, the Escort's diesel had a slight edge in flexibility. The Maestro's diesel, while capable, suffered from noticeable turbo lag and felt sluggish when setting off. Handling and ride comfort. Neither van was designed for spirited driving, but they needed to offer predictable and safe handling. The Maestro van benefited from its hatchback-derived independent suspension, which gave it a comfortable ride and decent road holding. However, its steering was somewhat vague, particularly at motorway speeds. The Escort van, conversely, featured a rear leaf spring suspension setup, which made it more robust for carrying heavy loads. This, however, resulted in a firmer ride, particularly when unladen. That said, the Escort's steering was sharper and more direct, giving it an advantage in urban environments where quick maneuvers were necessary. Practicality and load capacity. A van is only as good as its ability to carry cargo, and here the differences became more apparent. The Maestro van had a total load volume of approximately 2.2 cubic meters, while the Escort van offered a slightly larger 2.5 cubic meters. The Escort also had a higher payload rating, making it the better choice for heavier goods. Access to the load area was good in both vehicles, with large rear doors and a low loading lip. The Maestro had a slightly wider opening, which was beneficial for loading bulky items. Inside, both vans provided a relatively flat load floor, though the Escort's was marginally more durable, thanks to its hard-wearing liner. Interior and comfort. While commercial vehicles are not renowned for their luxurious interiors, driver comfort is still important, particularly for those spending long hours on the road. The Maestro van's interior was a mix of utilitarian design with some car-like comforts. The dashboard layout was simple but clear, with easy-to-read dials and logically placed switchgear. The seating position was relatively high, providing good visibility, though the seats lacked support on longer journeys. Noise insulation was limited, especially in the diesel models, where engine clatter was prominent. The Escort van felt more modern inside, borrowing much from the Escort car. The dashboard had a slightly more upmarket feel, with better quality plastics and a more ergonomic layout. The seats were more supportive, and overall refinement was superior to the Maestro, with better soundproofing making for a more pleasant drive. Running costs and reliability. Operating costs are a crucial factor for van buyers. The Maestro's Perkins diesel was renowned for its fuel efficiency, regularly returning over 50 miles per gallon, making it a cost-effective option. However, servicing costs could be higher due to the Perkins engine's complexity and the parts supply diminishing over time. The Escort's 1.8 diesel was also economical, though it generally achieved slightly lower miles per gallon figures than the Maestro. On the plus side, Ford's wider dealership network and cheaper, more readily available parts made maintenance more straightforward and cost-effective. Reliability-wise, both vans had their weak spots. The Maestro was known for its electrical gremlins, and the diesel variant suffered from cold starting issues in winter. The Escort, while mechanically robust, had a tendency for rust, particularly around the wheel arches and rear suspension mounts. Verdict: choosing between the Austin Maestro van and the Ford Escort van ultimately depends on what you prioritize in a compact commercial vehicle. The Maestro van excels in fuel economy, ride comfort, and load accessibility. It is a solid choice for those needing a budget-friendly workhorse with decent cargo capacity. However, its dated interior, less refined handling, and occasional reliability niggles let it down. The Escort van, meanwhile, offers better build quality, a more comfortable and modern cabin, and sharper handling. Its slightly larger load space and higher payload make it the more versatile choice for those carrying heavier goods. However, its firmer ride and slightly higher running costs could be a drawback for some. For businesses needing a dependable, no-nonsense van with broad service support, the Ford Escort van edges ahead. But for those prioritizing economy and comfort on longer journeys, the Austin Maestro van remains a viable alternative. Either way, both vans represent a bygone era of British commercial motoring, offering a charm and simplicity that many modern vans lack.